Everybody, thanks for coming back. Oh man, see, this is what.
Oh man, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. See, no, I love it. I love it when you redefine things, but that's not what we're going to talk about, because we're going to talk about our good friend and neighbor. You know what? We always talk about Uncle Bob. We like to talk about Uncle Terry. I don't think Uncle Don's got the right kind of ring to it. I don't know. Maybe Cousin Don or something along those lines. But set it up for people. I usually like to do this myself, but I want to hear you set it up, because Donald Trump, he's just spectacular as a political figure.
Now, back in the Reagan era, and I cannot remember who said this, but it was a muckety-muck in the Reagan administration. They were talking about a particular person, I think it was Don Baker, and they were talking about him, and they kept saying, how come nobody ever really confronts this guy? And he says, well, because I grew up in a neighborhood where if there was anybody named Don, you did not mess with him. And the problem is here, that's for you, Mom, is Donald Trump is somebody that really you can't mess with. If you want to talk about a Teflon Don, this is the guy. Look at the stuff that he says, poking not only the sacred cows of the left, but the sacred cows of the libertarians, the sacred cows of the Christians, the sacred cows of the right.
I don't think the Christians have any sacred cows. I think that's blasphemy, buddy. But go ahead.
Well, that might be. Well, mixing metaphors.
Just kidding.
There you go.
Just kidding.
And so here's Donald Trump, who, his star power is, and we get back to Trump and Bernie Sanders have the same type of message. Here I am. This is what I believe. I'm willing to flip-flop on whatever, and let's move forward. So these protesters who are associated with the Christian Arabic something relations care, CAIR, I forgot what it stands for.
Well, isn't it CARE is, I think, the Council of Arabic Islamic Relations, I think.
Yes, something. American Islamic.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Jeez, between the two of us,
we got it. That's a lot of advanced degrees coming up with that acronym.
Well, apparently,
a lot of letters to come up with that. Good Lord, it took five. I think it took like 5 or 6 letters just to get that 4-letter word out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And at least 20 years of education. Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing.
So. Yes, we're embarrassed now.
Yep,
and if I wasn't so dark, I would be blushing. So, anyway, these people, there's a quote, a gang of 8. That's what they've been called in several different news organizations, including Reuters that I'm looking at here. And these protesters, they show up, they yell, they scream, they cause a ruckus, and they get thrown out. Why? Because you can't cause a ruckus at a venue. Right? It's, that's what happens. You cause a ruckus, you get to stand outside. So these people came up with a brilliant solution. And I'm going to tell you, it's a brilliant solution. What they did is they all went, hold on. We keep getting thrown out. So this time, why don't we show up? One of us gets thrown out. And then when they swing the camera towards them, the rest of us will stand up and we'll all be quiet. And then when they finally figure out that we're all part of this, they'll throw us out too, and then we'll make worldwide splash. So this is a very carefully orchestrated thing. So what happened is they wear these Stars of David to represent, to try to link themselves to the Holocaust, which, there's no link between, CARE and the Holocaust. That's just ridiculous, in my opinion. And they have Muslim written in the middle of it. And so this person stood up, yelled, hollered something, and he was right behind Trump. And when they grabbed him and took him out, nobody really cared. It was when that Muslim lady, Rose Hamid, who I've heard is a Muslim convert, stands up and she's just sitting there silently. So, silent protest, fine, right? But really what made news is finally the security people figured out that they were all together. And so they grabbed her and moved her out. And then the others started yelling, and then they grabbed her and moved her out too. And that, the bottom line is it's a tempest in a teapot, because it's not going to change Trump's position of let's slow down on immigration from these war-torn areas filled with people that would like to kill us, right? Which to me sounds like a reasonable thing. And now it's all news all around the world. Everybody's getting mad again at Trump. And the bottom line is and that's for you again, Mom, is here's a lady at a private event that scored tickets to sit in a good spot being escorted from this event because she's a disruption. That's how I see it. I don't see the reason why there's big turmoil. Take it away, Lefty.
Well, the biggest part of the turmoil was that what the crowd was screaming at her while she was being escorted silently out, saying that she had a bomb, that she was the problem, that she should get out of the country. I think she's from here. You know, if the purpose was to demonstrate the ignorance and the nastiness and the all out just garbage that comes out of a lot of the folks' mouths at these Trump rallies, I'd say mission accomplished. I mean, you had the one guy that was yelling at Trump, who was getting beaten up on his way out, and all kinds of racial epithets being tossed at him. And Donald, I think his response was, yeah, maybe they should rough him up even more. Maybe they should rough him up a little bit. But that's okay, because he's saying what he believes, right? And he's not going to change. So, and we got to admire that sort of thing. Generally, when people believe or say stuff that is, reprehensible or morally unconscionable, that cream of an honest discourse rises to the top. And Donald Trump has figured out a way to suppress that and really get down to the nitty gritty of the disgusting side of American politics. And kudos, I suppose. If that's what you're into, then good. That's my take on it.
Well, one of the things I found interesting, reading several different articles, at least 12 different articles about this, Al Jazeera gets up there and she quotes this Rose Hamid, who, and nobody else reports. Only Rose Hamid says, hey, these people were saying that stuff. I mean, she's
it's on the video, man. You can hear them screaming at her.
Well, I didn't see the video. What? So how do you know it wasn't trumped up, to pardon the pun?
Because it was his video. So at his rally.
Well, but this is what she says, according to Al Jazeera. This demonstrates how when you start dehumanizing the other, it can turn people into very hateful, ugly people, which is true. We all agree with that.
Yes.
I have the sincere belief that if people get to know each other one-on-one, that they'll stop being afraid of each other. And that's the end of the quote. Well, here's the rest of it, according to Reuters. And of course, I just now lost it. But she goes on to say that she doesn't think that it represents all rightists or all Republicans.
Nope.
That's just very few.
Right.
But they leave that part out in Al Jazeera. And I think, if you're going to do a quote, you should do the entire quote. And that's part of the problem. And it's the same thing. And I'll use Al Jazeera as an example. On Fox News, they did the same thing. Right, except it slanted more towards them. So the bottom line is I think this is a brilliant tactic on their part. I do. It was a great tactic. It did bring a lot of attention to, well, hold on, this is some hateful rhetoric, right? According to them. However, Donald Trump is bombastic. Sitting there saying Donald Trump's bombastic is not news to anybody. And the other thing is when CARE sits there and says, well, here's this woman being abused, she doesn't report she was being abused. Nobody there said she was being abused.
Verbal abuse is abuse.
Well, and make a very good point.
And the thing that I would say about Donald Trump and his rally and his supporters and the things that they say is that George Wallace didn't get elected president either.
Yeah, and that's true. So we're up to the last segment. I think we covered Donald Trump pretty well. Anything particularly?
I don't need to really ever talk about him again, personally.
Well, we're going to have to at least talk.
God, if he gets elected, we'll have to talk about it all the time
throughout the New Hampshire. So what do you want to talk about when we come back? Any ideas?
I think I got a couple.
All right, great. We're going to come back with our mystery tour right after this break. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We want to thank all of our sponsors, including Bertrosian Associates at bertrosianassociates.com, Lubinas Law Firm at lubinaslawfirm.com, Halo Capital at DesMoinesInterestRates.com. We need to change our names, make it a lot simpler to spell.
I think we do.
Because Lubinas, everybody's going like 2 E's.
Well, so, when there's not an E in it.
Oh, well, and there you go. And they go, so it's ELU.
No.
Anyway, Des Moines Anesthesia, they do pain management and anesthesia, And they have offices here in Des Moines and Fort Dodge. Their number is 515-574-6442. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can catch this show and all the rest of our shows on YouTube as well. Follow us at docandlefty.com as well. We'll have some things up there.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, tuning in. Be back right after this break.